Back, Freestyle Fridays. Again, I'm here, your host, Money Making Mando at IG, Money Making Mando, here with another episode of Real Estate Deli, 5-minute freestyle. Let's go. We're back at it talking co-living, right? As we left off last week. Now we're going to get into navigating some legal and zoning hurdles in the co-living space, which applies, different rules apply for different states, different counties, and so on and so on. So let's dive in a little bit. So I wrote here some bullet points so we can get to it, right? We got 5 minutes. Let's go. Zoning permits. Cities have different regulations, as I was saying. It's important to know if your property fits these regulations. Examples, variances, special permitting for multiple occupancies, right? You have to be aware of these things. Do some vetting before you go into any of these spaces, just to prepare yourself to what can happen and just to be able to fit into whatever they require, right? You don't want to be have issues, with the local counties, buildings, apartments, et cetera, et cetera. So be mindful of those things. And cities city regulations vary. So like I said, be mindful of those things as well. You don't want to be fined, right? You don't want to incur those issues, right? You don't want to pay as you ways, I would say. You don't want to do that. Even maybe seek some legal advice, right? An attorney or someone in the community who's aware of these things that can vet, local REAs. Maybe you can find people there who are this is kind of their niche. Maybe they can lead you in the right direction, right? Just try to connect those dots, right? And get that advice to guide you through these local issues and regulations. Again, these are things that you might encounter that you might not know about, right? You might be an out-of-state investor and you're stepping into these new places and you just don't know, right? So just try to sharpen your sword, right? Sharpen that axe. I say sharpen that axe and make just one cut, right? So again, be aware of those things, right? And don't underestimate, again, local codes, right? Don't underestimate that. You want to play within the rules, play within the system, right? You don't want to get headaches, right? Again, it's all very monotonous and kind of all the same things, but again, be aware of these things. Understanding this up front can save you penalties in the future. Again, going back to those penalties and the, being in the system. Under the system, right? The regulations, right? Some places have stronger regulations than others. Like Boston has very specific regulations that you gotta be mindful of. If you was to do any co-living there, you gotta be aware that they have stronger regulations. You want to be careful with those as well, right? So be mindful of those situations that can occur, right? And then you have examples like San Francisco and LA, which are more co-living spaces. They're more susceptible or friendly to co-living spaces due to the increased housing demand, right? So knowing these trends can help you identify future opportunities that others might overlook, right? So just dive in a little bit, get that knowledge, and just be in that space to know what things are happening in particular markets and see if they match your criteria, right? So always be aware of those things. Stay on top of that. And those who have interest in this particular real estate sector, the first step is to understand or overstand your local zoning. Speak to local real estate attorneys, your local real estate authority, or the websites is very helpful as well. And start to do your due diligence, right? As soon as possible to get acquainted with all these things that you want to know, like I was saying beforehand. You don't want to incur these issues while you start a project or something and then you have to stop or you have a stop work order. Again, you want to avoid all these issues. You want to stay under the system, stay under the rug, right? In the right way though, right? And just encompass all these things that we've talked about, right? And again, if this information is useful or helpful, I'll be coming every Friday with that 5-minute freestyle again, and hopefully this information can save you some potential heartache, right? So stay tuned for more future tips, and like, share, and subscribe, and we hit that 5-minute mark like right now.